And then I would also remove that question initially. So there should be no question in the question box. Yeah, I would just remove it. And then I would also, okay. And then stay on mute. And then Jonathan, I see you. It's, can you do a test on your audio real quick, Jonathan, to make sure it's coming through on the
Sure.
YouTube side?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hi, I'm coming to you from south of Quentin.
South of the Dallas border.
I know. I can't give my exact coordinates. It's currently classified.
Did it come through on the YouTube, your audio?
Oh, I haven't. I've muted. I didn't know if. Let me see my exact coordinates. Oh yeah, I'm hearing it.
Okay.
I'm
It's
just
10
keeping it.
a.m.
All right, boy.
So
Let's.
that means it's time to get started.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right,
How
we
many
are
people we
live.
have? Oh, okay,
Uh,
cool.
so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining our inaugural podcast, Real Time Talk with Eagle 3D Streaming, where we talk everything related to the real time industry. This is our first podcast, so go easy on us. We're still working out some kinks, but it is all designed towards having important discussions around this rapidly growing industry around sharing real time data. My name is Quentin Anderson. I'm the CEO and co founder of Eagle 3D Streaming. And our first guest is Jonathan Labby, owner of JCL Creative.
Hey,
Jonathan, do you
hey,
want to say
thank.
hello?
Hello. No, thank you, Quentin, for letting me be a part of this. I know we've been buddies for a while now, so and a lot of what I know is thanks to you. So if anybody that comments calls me out on something, it's going to be Quentin's fault. So we just need to clarify that ahead of time.
Fair enough. No pressure, right? Yeah.
No, I'm excited to be here and being able to give my opinion on things.
Cool, cool. Yeah, so I just want to brag a little bit on Jonathan for a second. So I have known him for 5 years now, maybe more.
Oh
He's a
wow,
very, yeah, no, too long, too long.
too
But
long.
he's a very close friend. He is the owner of JCL Creative. It is a creative studio based out of Houston, Texas, and their clients span primarily the industrial, energy, and oil and gas sectors. And he has worked with some huge, huge mega brands from all of these industries. He's a lovely individual, and he is the person who is solely or primarily responsible for being a pioneer of pixel streaming in the oil and gas industry. Jonathan, is that a fair statement?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. I appreciate that. Yeah. Um, the some of the initial companies, as it's been a learning process, getting into that industry because it's very tried and true. It's hard to create new channels of acceptance when everything that they've had for eons now is um, that's it's trusting, so coming in with new technology is it's fun, and I have to say a lot of it comes from the younger generations that are going into that industry. So yeah, it's I'm glad to see that they're starting to take it on.
Cool, cool. So let's get into it then, if you're ready. And let me
Yep.
explain briefly to everyone how this works. So we are going to be fed at random questions related to pixel streaming in the metaverse. If you have a question during the stream, just please post it in the YouTube chat. And our moderator, Jay, he will put it into the pool of questions that we may be potentially asked. Future, we will actually be streaming this through the Unreal Engine and we will be able to control real time what questions are voted. But we're not there yet, baby steps. And so for today, we will be fed questions at random and we will have up to 4 minutes to discuss that question. Jonathan, are you ready for the first question?
Bring it on.
Okay, so it's a doozy. What does the metaverse mean to you?
Well, we've known about the term for a while now. I guess the people within the tech industry, and now thank you to Facebook for kind of putting it on a global scale, global attention. And to me, I would say the metaverse is um, the introduction to this technology. It's somebody had to start it, and I'm glad that Facebook, that there's enough money behind it, because I don't feel as though this is going to be like the 3D fad that the industry keeps pushing out for 4 or 5 years, and then it goes away. I mean, there's not as much acceptance of it, mass appeal. But this, there's a heck of a lot of potential on this. So, social media, yes. Commerce, yes. Industry, definitely. But in order to build the attraction of it, I feel like we're going to start in on the younger generations, the younger demographic, to really help drive the initial startup of it.
Hmm. Yeah. So next question just came in, and this is something super interesting. So we all know that a little company known as Facebook recently changed their name. What do you think about them doing that?
Well, I would say that a company like Facebook, there's a lot of popularity behind it. They're, as far as social media goes, they're I would say, the number one platform. They've been around for a very long time. I know that I don't know if we want to get into the political side of things, but they have, had issues. There's been a lot of debates here and there. So, pivoting right now into that entire, into the metaverse, um, it's an interesting time for them to do that, for them to completely change it up. I don't see. I mean, we don't know their full business model, so I don't see Facebook going anywhere anytime soon. But changing their name to Meta, I feel like it can only be good for the new technology. Whether it's actually good for Facebook, I think that there's still a lot of stigma behind, the good and bad things that that surround that company. So Meta, I think, is at least putting a driving force of positivity towards the new technology.
Yeah, yeah, and and just to stay with this question for a little bit, and Jay, you may want to hold on posting new questions for about 4 minutes or so. But just to stay on this question, I think it's also interesting what Facebook did. So they single-handedly, I think, made the metaverse thing something that is now inevitable
Mm-hmm.
because they are investing $10 billion into making this thing. I think
Yeah.
their hope is that they will control the entire metaverse. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I think what will probably be more likely is that there will be multiple metaverses. And so theirs will just be one of many. So they are creating or helping to create the industry, but they're also sort of creating a lot of competition. And the metaverse is probably going to be more of like a decentralized space where control is not given to any individual because that's just the way the world's heading. And so I don't think it'll be a Ready Player One thing where you have one metaverse that everyone joins in. There are going to be infinite numbers where you kind of hop between these metaverses based on it. Is it a business experience? Is it an e-com experience? Is it a fun experience? Or what do you think? Do you think there will be like one single metaverse, or do you think it'll be like a mishmash, or too soon to say, or
I think I would like to see there be multiple. I mean, on the with in the future, a way of being able to bridge the worlds together. But I think that for right now, to build the attraction of the metaverse, it's much more of a gamer's world. It's not that it's cartoony. I mean, you have your avatars and you have a fun younger demographic experience. As far as corporate America goes, I don't see it right now as being a big draw for industry to go to. I mean, you have games like Minecraft and a lot of other real-time player games that are out there that industry and clothing companies and everybody have started putting their products in there, but it's not like a photoreal version of it. I mean, if I want to buy a Balenciaga, something or other, I'm probably still going to go to their website. I'm not going to go into a universe that's fake to look at how I look with it on my avatar. So, but you got to start somewhere. So I think having a separate world that caters more for the business and more of a serious nature is nice. But maybe if there's something like like on in the movie Beetlejuice, where you open up a door and then boom, you're into a new photoreal world as opposed to a gaming world. I mean, I think you could do something like that. Now, coming up with a standardized platform of how they merge with each other, there you go. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the plot twist is that we were in a simulation all along.
Oh god.
And we just didn't know it. Yeah. So then, all right. So the next question is, what do you think makes a good metaverse? Like, what would be a bad metaverse? What would make it good? And what's the difference between the two?
I think, we've, looking back at what social media has brought to our attention, I think that is going to be crucial to pay attention to the effects that social media has had, both good and bad, on, generations, obviously a lot of the younger generations, but older as well, going into a new platform. How do you police the metaverse? How do you control, the capabilities of an avatar in the metaverse? So you're going to have people that will probably figure out ways of developing plugins and different features for avatars and that. And I don't feel like a metaverse is going to change the current social structure of what's out there. There's going to have to be something else, and I don't know what that is, but there has to be something else that is brought into that environment that creates not necessarily a safe zone, but more of of an attraction. So it's like, well, why would someone like my mother or a grandparent, why would they want to go into that world? Or even someone that's in elementary school. How do you create that? Facebook has like a kids zone, and YouTube has a kids zone that caters towards their content. If you're in that same world, how do you identify and keep those certain channels secure, so people don't try take advantage of them?
Yeah. Yeah, and there's been like such a push lately to digital, mostly because of the pandemic that happened in 2020. But I wonder if
Mm-hmm.
there's almost going to be like a backlash or a anti-reaction towards digital, where we go heavy into metaverse, but then it's like, oh wait, turns out we just want to live in the physical world. So, obviously we're just kind of speculating and wondering, but that's also something that's on my mind is, the role the pandemic's playing, and if there's going to be almost like a reversal, maybe in some
Mm-hmm.
extent. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to have another pandemic, but I think it really opened the eyes of the majority of people about the digital infrastructure, and do we what do we have out there now as far as services to communicate digitally, and then how quickly do we want to bring in new sets of tools to communicate that way versus having the in-person experiences. You can't get rid of that. I mean, because everybody's just gonna sit in front of a computer and get bed sores. So you need to get out and walk, people. We all
yeah,
do.
yeah,
So
yeah. So yeah, so with that being said, then, and a lot of, you know, vagueness around where things are headed, where do you think things could go with the metaverse? And I know it's already sort of like a cutting edge technology and something super, super new, and we're still trying to figure it out. But what do you think? Where do you think it's headed, or where do you think the future could be? Like, what's its purpose?
Um, I, I'm really attracted to the commerce side of it. Because there's only, when you're on a website right now, it's very linear. I mean, you can only, it's as good as you can get right now. But when you go to a website for a store, you know that you're going to scroll to go through a product's offerings. You know that there's going to be certain abouts and different tabs that are specified and pretty universal across most websites. But I'm excited to see a more of a photo real world that if I don't have the capabilities of going to a certain store, I'm not going to jump on a plane to go to Italy to go to a cool fashion design store. Go on the metaverse or whatever it's going to ultimately be called, or that particular universe is called. Go there and have the ability to walk around a store, look at the different products, and at that point those individual companies will have invested enough to represent themselves the way they really want to and have a customized experience as opposed to a very specific language of web development that limits to scrolling. I want to move the clothing rack and be able to look at stuff, and maybe avatar technology gets a whole lot more impressive, and then be able to look at what it is, be able to put my own sizes in of my body type, and and see how I actually would look in that, and then boom, so I'm really attracted to that side, because right now with the metaverse, with the gaming, I feel like the gaming side is the safe introduction to it. It's putting it on a global scale and saying, yes, this is what the capabilities are. But the photo real aspect is where I think it's going to draw mass appeal
Hmm.
later on down the road, and that's going to take time.
Yeah, and that's something interesting, and I've noticed you've mentioned photoreal a few times. So you don't think the or many metaverses are going to look like Minecrafty, where it's like blocky, digital, kitschy sort of. Do you think people are going to want like a photoreal, very representative of physical world type experience?
I think you're going to have to cater to the masses. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are in industry right now. They're not attracted to the gaming world. They're intimidated by it. Whether it is intimidation or they just see it as childish or something. They're just not. That's just not what they're into. Doesn't mean they don't like shopping. They could go on there and do something like that. Doesn't mean they don't like social media. They just don't want to go into a potential world and explore it through key commands, or through a joystick. So it needs to keep those universes for the people that like them. And I mean, that's what makes it great. I mean, that's what, like, look at the world. You go to different places and it's different. That's the awesome part about it. I think the metaverse would be one, location, and you have other verses that are out there that cater to other interests. I think that's going to be the best, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like photoreal metaverses are going to have like a perfect or a big place in the metaverse space. But yeah, there may be like some stylized versions too.
Yeah.
Um, and there is a lot of talk going on about metaverses lately, and this kind of reminds me of the internet in the 90s. Do you think there will be a metaverse bubble?
What do you mean by bubble?
Yeah. So when I saw this question, the thing that came to my mind was, the internet.com boom in 1999, where there was a crazy rush where we were making websites left and right, and we ended up having a bubble where a lot of those .com companies fell by the wayside, and a few of the winners emerged. And I don't know if that's happening right now, but you don't have a huge company like Facebook, who is like the top technology company in the world, do something as aggressive as pivoting towards not only changing their name, but putting $10 billion into investing into the metaverse. There, in some ways, for me, there are signs that we're kind of in like a dot-com bubble again. That's my thought. Or what do you think? Do you think the metaverse, all this stuff could be a bubble, or it's not going to be as big as the internet?
I think it has the potential to be as big as the internet. It's very exciting to see what is being developed right now. As far as it being a bubble, um, I'm glad that there's a lot of energy behind the technology right now. I think that people are still trying to figure it out. A lot of the examples that are out there are things that have existed, and they're just trying to attach themselves to the new technology, as far as the look and the controllability. I mean, I'm still seeing. I keep going back to more of the video game world, where you're in an avatar, an avatar body, representing yourself, and um, for right now, there is a lot of energy behind this technology, and I don't know. It's you look at like the 3D technology that was cool, but part of the reason why I think that technology has been difficult to really move forward is the barrier of entry.
Hmm.
You have, what do you need in order to go into the 3D world? You got to have glasses. You got to have a TV that broadcasts properly. You got to have content. So there's a lot of cost that goes into there. So as someone like me, if I have a computer, I might have a television, but am I going to go spend more money just to go into a new environment? Probably not, at least for quite some time. So, with pixel streaming, and, with, let's say, the metaverse, the barrier of entry into this technology is um, very minimal. I mean, you have a cell phone, you have a tablet, you have a computer, you can go on a website. If you have 3D goggles, or VR goggles, or or AI goggles, or whatever, I mean, you can go in and experience this. So we are in a bubble because it's a new technology and it's very exciting, but I see this as sticking around for a very long time. And you're going to have the internet, but you need something to base the new technology off of. You need something to compare it to. Take the good and then get rid of the bad, if
Yeah,
you can.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Very well said. Um, and we got in the next question, which is very interesting. And then Jay, I'd also just like to mention, keep an eye on the time because I know a question came in through LinkedIn, and I want to make sure that we get to that one. But in the meantime, how much is this going to cost to make the
oh,
metaverse?
I actually have the exact dollar amount right
Okay,
here.
let's see it. Let's see it.
$1 million. No, I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of billions of dollars behind it right now. So I think it's good that we have a big company like Facebook behind it, because it shows validity. It shows a serious investment into this tech space. So, and a lot of people rely. A lot of people do their business through Facebook. So having a company like that immediately puts trust. It puts the spotlight on them, and we'll see. I don't. I mean, their introductory costs of development aren't going to be what it is now. Obviously, it's going to be a lot. I mean, look at the internet. I
Mhm,
mean, you build out a basic platform, but again, that is for their version of it.
mhm.
So, I mean, you got to keep in mind that, whatever they create, if you don't like that, you're going to have to invest money and build your own. And whether that's using a standardized set of tools to develop, to at least start developing a new world, that's to be said.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's total, speculation at this point. 10 billion for Facebook. It
Yeah.
can maybe be 10x that. Who knows? But it'll cost. quite a bit to make. I'm sure the internet also costs quite a bit. But I think on the consumer side, it has to be as affordable as possible. We
Oh
pay
yeah.
monthly for internet. I think we should pay monthly for access to every single type of metaverse out there. Um,
Hmm.
that would be amazing. So, switching gears now from metaverse to pixel streaming. What the
Yes.
heck is pixel streaming?
I don't know what is pixel streaming. No, pixel streaming to me is being able to manipulate real-time data and communicate back and forth. One of the biggest attractions for pixel streaming to me is that um, it's not um, end technology specific, meaning I guess meaning that you don't need a certain you don't need VR goggles to enjoy it. If I only have a cell phone, I can still share in the same quality of experience. Maybe not as immersive, obviously, as goggles could provide, but it's not keeping me away from it as opposed to like an Xbox or a PlayStation. So, to get that level of graphics, to get real time capabilities, zero delay, all these really cool interactive features. Hey, I can do that off of a cell phone. I don't need to have an application to download. It's right there in the cloud. I just, boom, go into it and I'm there.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's what, pixel streaming to me, that's what I feel that it is.
Yeah. And I think that that is something that people gravitate towards the technology for. It's the removal of any hardware dependencies for
Mm-hmm.
the target device. Now, pixel streaming isn't the easiest thing in the world to do, but it does make it possible to have photoreal, your friend, photoreal
Oh, yeah.
experiences on any target device without any installations, plugins, hardware dependencies. And so that's why, you know, I think pixel streaming is so interesting. But when we talk about pixel streaming scalability for software as a service based projects, and I can maybe kick this one off if you want me to, just in terms of
Yeah, yeah, you go for it.
of my thoughts. But what about their scalability? And I think this is a very, very important question. This came in from LinkedIn, so thank you very much for asking this one. Um, this is my thought. So right now, as of today, I would say that the scalability is probably in the thousands for very concentrated small events that are planned coordinated timelines, which isn't what we all want. We want it to behave like YouTube, where it's hugely scalable. But right now, I think it's concentrated events, but you can also run maybe 10 concurrent user spots 24/7. And what we've seen is you're able to filter thousands, tens of thousands of users through a smaller number of concurrent user spots. So I think low frequency applications where you maybe have, total foot traffic is between 1,000 and 10,000 for any SaaS program. That's sort of where we are today. And
What do you
then
mean by
maybe,
low frequency?
yeah, so a low frequency number of users that are connected at any given time. So
Okay.
you may have up to 10 users connected, but it occurs, throughout the day. And what happens is you have, thousands of unique views that are happening every single month. So, and that sort of setup, I think that's where the scalability is right now of the technology. And then obviously, the promised land is making it as scalable as YouTube. Um, or do you have any thoughts or anything to add to that? Apparently not. It looks like he may have actually, the feed may have froze a little bit, and I don't know if it's on. Oh, hey, I think I lost you. Was that me? I think I lost you. Was that me?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
whole stream went down.
Everything just crashed.
Yeah.
It's still showing that it's working on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I see it. It says, okay, you are muted. All right. No,
We're
it's
back,
back.
everybody. Yep. So that's the fun thing about doing this for the first
Uh-oh.
time. Um, yeah, I think that may be our sign that it's time to sign her off.
Yeah, I'm not sure is that at my end or?
I'm not sure. But I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Um, so,
Well,
Jonathan,
thank you, everybody.
and that's a show for today. No, seriously, Jonathan, thank you so much for being on our first podcast where we discuss
Yeah,
mostly the metaverse, a little bit of pixel streaming. You are the
thank you
man. I
very, very much. I
appreciate you so
appreciate it.
much. Thank you all for everyone tuning in. If you have any other questions, just feel free to send them to us on LinkedIn or through this video, which will be posted on YouTube. We're going to be doing these every single month. So if you have an idea on a topic or something you would like to see discussed, let us know. We are in the process of making this stream through Unreal, and it's going to be super, super cool. So keep an eye out for that. And we will catch you on the next episode of Real Time Talk with Eagle 3D Streaming. Jonathan, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Quentin.
All right.
And thank you, everybody.
Cheers, everyone. Have a good day.